Good morning, everybody. We have some horrific news. Let me see if I can fix this, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know how my stand for my phone always seems to move over when I don't use it. Well, when I use it, and then the next day it's like a mile over to the right. I was about to not go live because I hate going over top of Dolly Vision, but he's been live for a minute, so I figured it would be okay. Deep breath. This case is extremely, what's the word? Horrific, awful, just absolutely it is on the same level as Chad Dorman in Ohio. If you guys followed that case, you already know he unalived his 3 little boys. This is a similar, except for there's 3 little girls involved. Oh, and I see Mimi Tanya has become a member. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Man, it takes place in Wenatchee. I believe I said that right, Washington. And it happened on Friday. Now, the man in the photo on my thumbnail, his name is Travis Decker. He's a 32-year-old vet. You heard me correctly, Army vet that was actually homeless at the time of this Planned Parent visit he had with his children. And there's a backstory to that, which there's so many breaks and wrongdoings and issues within our system, in my opinion, that it's just, I mean, I can't find words. It literally makes me rage. These poor 3 children, PAITYN, EVELYN, and OLIVIA, were found, I believe, yesterday, unalived by their father with, allegedly, I'm not certain, they gave the news, but then they say they're not going to fully give the news or the details of the crime scene, which either they did or they didn't. They were found with plastic bags on their heads, so they're saying they died from asphyxiation. It's absolutely horrific. I mean, how a parent could do that, but there was warning signs. Thank you, Carolina, for the flower. It brightens up our little conversation a little bit this morning. I had to stop and acknowledge it. You guys, so back it up. It was Friday, last Friday, the 30th of May, and this man had visitations, but due to concerns from the mother, there was a fixed plan for visitation that had been adjusted recently, according to a news article. Thank you, Helena. First of all, this man was in the Army. So first of all, he's got extensive training. He's able to be surviving out in the wilderness, in the cold and whatnot. Whatever training he might have gotten with that Army enlistment, he's got it. So now that he's on the run, I believe he's going to possibly be a hard catch for detectives and law enforcement personnel trying to get him off the streets. Well, what occurred was while he was in the Army, everything was great. He was married. He's 32 years old, and he came home, and once they were back together, husband and wife, he had developed borderline personality disorder, according to this article that I read. And what that meant was that there was instances where he would wake up in the middle of the night and start screaming at his wife. Now, there was nothing actually physically occurring, and therefore they're not calling this an abusive instance to where he would go on these rants, but it caused them to get a divorce. Good morning, David. Good morning, Nina. Thank you guys so much for coming in here and hanging out with me this morning. This story, I believe, is extremely important. And so that caused them to grow distant, is that his alleged borderline personality disorder had him waking up in the middle of the night, snapping at the wife for no apparent reason, I guess out of mid-sleep, according to the story in the article. So they eventually get a divorce. But this divorce now causes him to become homeless, according to the same article. And so, problem right here is that we've got an Army vet that served in the Army that is homeless, and that's clearly most likely developed some type of personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, according to the article. And this is all not 100% proven, so I don't want to say, this is exactly what happened, but this is what I read in a recent article I read. And so this man is now homeless, which apparently that doesn't matter when it comes to having time with your children, which for the most part I would agree. He could handle the kids during the day as long as he returns them at night, whatnot. And that was another issue, is that apparently they had a parenting plan that got adjusted recently due to him being homeless. How long ago was the divorce? I honestly don't know. I kind of just breezed through the article just so that I could have the most updated information. And it seems like not long ago, because that's what caused her to get a amended parental plan, because of the fact that she had shown concerns for his borderline personality disorder to have him have the children at all times. And so it went from he went to go to have custody, right? And it was now every other weekend or every other Friday, and it was never overnight anymore. And so last Friday on the 30th, he was due to have the children for the day. He should have returned them by the end of the night. And when he did not, that's when, of course, we got panic. And so the mother calls 911, tells them that her children are missing, and there's not an Amber Alert issued. Red flag number 2. So the fact that there's no Amber Alert issued, and we had this conversation with Jack and Lily. I know Dolly Vision talked about it extensively, to where my tooth is bothering me a little bit. Sorry, guys. But the state didn't issue an Amber Alert. The actual police department states how they requested for an Amber Alert to be issued twice, and it was denied due to the fact that it did not meet the criteria for an Amber Alert. And I'm like, what? Why? How would it just... So the difference, because they got an endangered person alert, and the difference between the endangered person alert, it sends email notifications instead of text messages, and it sends the traffic signs on the highways. They had the updates on, the girls are missing, da-da-da. But with an Amber Alert, you would have gotten a more nationwide alert, and you would have gotten text messages to people's phones instead of emails. I mean, who reads their emails? I don't read an email ever. I don't even think I've ever seen an email about an endangered person. So I don't really know what that's about there. But ultimately, that... And then they said they searched all of the motels and the hotels in the area for his vehicle. If he was homeless every other day, but you expected him to get a motel for the one day / night that he was with his girls, it just seems a little bit stupid to me. I can't even imagine. Just like Chad Dorman, right? Yes, nightmare. The difference between this Chad Dorman, his wife was present while he unalived his little boys, and it was, I can't even imagine. For the cops, they all walked up on the scene, and he was still there. Chad Dorman was there, like, yep, I did it. But there was other signs, in my opinion, to where this could have been prevented. I mean, if the mother's stating, hey, this man has borderline personality disorder, he's waking up in the middle of the night screaming at me, who's to say he's not going to be screaming at the kids during the visitations? I mean, I get that screaming is not necessarily harmful. It's not as if, he's actually assaulting them in any way, but that can leave a lasting scar. So that even alone, to me, is just problematic, that these people were allowed to take this incident and still give this man access to his children. But then again, as being an Army vet, why was he homeless? I mean, don't they have some type of program for people like this that become, there's a lot of people that come out of the services and have, depression, PTSD, personality issues, and trouble gaining back their life they once had before they went into the military. So, I'm speaking of that as an experienced person who's witnessed people that have been in the military, because, Norfolk here in Virginia is such a military town. I've literally seen homeless vets that have, my best friend who's passed away now, God rest her soul, but her dad was homeless and he was a military vet. And he actually ended up getting run over by a car and dying. Like, why would we not have some type of service for people that gave their life? And I feel disgusting that I'm like feeling not remorse. I'm feeling compassion for this man. But at the same time, I'm like, he's a monster. How do you get there? I just don't. And I guess it's because I'm not that type, or I'm not in that state of mind, or I'm not in, borderline personality disorder, psychosis, whatever it is that he was in, manic. It's just, I can't comprehend. Like, if I ever had a voice in my head telling me, hey, unalive my babies, like, unalive yourself first. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I mean, it's just, I cannot. But the fact that now they're sitting here like, oh, well, we didn't offer an Amber Alert, and we tried. Well, you tried and you didn't do it. So just, like, cut that shit out. But now we've got this man, 32 years old, so he's a young whippersnapper. Like, he's going to be able to get by and do as he pleases, being a survivalist in the Army, where they trained him to be a survivalist. And I just can't. Wife was probably still being abused and bullied by him. I can only imagine. I mean, it's just, veterans don't get the help they need when they leave active duty. I see it. Sounds like he hated his wife so much he took her to... That's exactly what happened with Chad. I feel like Chad Dorman in Ohio, who took a plea deal eventually and didn't freaking do a trial, but his selfish ass should have unalived himself too. Like, I just can't. It's horrific. It's traumatic to be even hearing about stories like that. And he trained others. I read about that somewhere. So, I mean, he's got extensive training. So he can basically be out here surviving and living his best life in the woods, and we may never see him again, So it's just absolutely disgusting, this whole situation, disturbing, sad, horrific. I mean, we have to do something. Like, how do we as a whole, as a community, or as just people in general, how do we make a difference in making something change? Like, we've been talking about it on Dolly Vision, I feel like, for months. The Amber Alert system. Why wasn't there an Amber Alert sent out? Well, there's not criteria, blah, blah, blah. Thank you again, Helena. You're the best. Thank you so much. And so, like, what do we need to do to get that changed? Do we have to have, like, a petition? Do we need to go to our government? But even then, here in Virginia, we have very strict laws when it comes to certain things that I don't feel like any of the other states have. Like, I feel like we have more than most states. So for me, if I went to my government here in Virginia, I feel like I really wouldn't need much to change certain things or to help in this type of situation. We don't have the Amber Alert, but we have the Cody Alert for poor baby Cody Bigsby, who was unalived by his dad, and he's serving prison time extensively, and they never found Cody. But for me, it's just, I want to make a difference there too. Like, I want to make a difference in other states, and I don't know how that's possible, because most of us come up here as content creators or people that just talk on YouTube and just spill our guts and talk about things and rant and rave and complain, but like, how do we go above and beyond that? Past that? How do we go to, okay, now here's the solution, or here's what we do? Because here in this case, with this man, anybody in Washington state that believes they see this man is not asked to contact him. Like, do not go up to him. Do not try to stop him from from traveling. If you see him, you're simply asked to call the police instantly and to keep going about your business. And so if this survivalist happens to see you, you know, in his mind, he's probably instantly going to be like, okay, yeah, I've been spotted. I got to get out of here. So, like, I don't have much faith in the system. As we've seen, it's completely flawed. And this is a prime example. Thank you, Helena. I love my floating hearts. Good morning, PJ. Good morning, Truth. Nina, we have to do the homework when voting, especially voting for judges. Was that a judge thing? Is that where the custody issue came in? I did read in that same article that the custody plan, I guess, was different, and then it got changed. And so the adjustment to the custody plan was to where his parenting time was now every other Friday, and it was not overnights. And so the mother, when she reported that they were missing, she stated, hey, he's never been late before. He usually drops them off and everything is good. And the judge that ordered visitation. But see, that's the thing. There's another thing where people discuss, like, well, he was homeless. Why would he have the ability to have children? Like, what are you going to do with them? If you're homeless, you usually don't have money to obtain your home. And so therefore, you shouldn't, it's like, but at the same time, I understand it to where, like, you shouldn't take a father away from his children. He's got rights like any other father that's a loving father that just happens to be having a bad time and is homeless. He should still have rights and have his children. So at what point in time there in this story did somebody need to stop and be like, hey, look, this is not right. These children do not need to go with this man. And what snapped? Because it's almost as if we're supposed to be predicting behavior, and that's not possible. But if we see signs, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this man clearly had signs, because their divorce and stuff stated where he would wake up in the middle of the night and just randomly start screaming at his wife. And that's unpredictable behavior. And to me, so that's basically horrific for these kids. Like, what if he suddenly became unpredictable during one of their visits? Like, I just don't understand who agreed for them to still continue to be going with this man. And now he's done unalive these poor little girls. The mother is, I would be unconsolable. I just can't. But now he's wanted. And so as of last Friday, what has occurred? He had visitations. They were dropped off. He never brought them home. The mother called 911. No Amber Alert. We've talked about it on Dolly Vision this whole freaking 6 months, I feel like. The Amber Alert system is broken at this point to me. They said that they requested an Amber Alert 2 times when they did the press conference, and that they were denied by the state. And so, therefore, they didn't ever get an Amber Alert. So nobody was texted saying, you know, look out for the white GMC or Sierra. He had a white truck that the girls were found by. They were found by the truck. So, like, once they determined what the truck was, they located his truck. They found the girls, like, 500 feet from his truck. And so, had you issued an Amber Alert, the truck would have been on the radar of a lot more people, because you would have sent text messages, not emails, out notifying the public. Thank you, Helena. That this truck was wanted in these little girls' missing disappearance. Hey, they're missing, you know, we need to find them. Do something more about it than just send out an email. And now we've got these poor babies no longer with us. 5, 8, and 9. 3 of them. I mean, it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. I can't even, I just, and now this man, like I said, he's a survivalist. He's been in the army, extensive training. He could probably survive. And when you look at the area of where this man is missing in, it's wooded. It's like trails, hikes, mountainous. Contact your senators. Let these laws change, people. Yeah, I mean, for real. I know here with the Cody alert, we get a text message, but I don't believe it's as wide or as nationwide as it should be. But with cases like this, they got emails sent to them. Like, who the hell? Press 1 in the chat if you've seen an email before in your life, ever, about kids that are missing. These little girls could have been saved if they had put out an Amber Alert from the start. I agree. I agree. They sent out emails. They didn't meet the criteria. Oh, and the sheriff or the police personnel that was talking had the audacity, the nerve to say, how did he word it? He said, they requested an Amber Alert, and had the mother stated that the father had said something to the likes of, oh, if I can't have you, nobody can, then that would have validated an Amber Alert, and they would have sent one out. What? That doesn't even make sense. So if he had said, like, hey, I intend to harm these children, then you would have sent an Amber Alert. But I mean, the fact that he hadn't returned them, you don't think that's... It's just... blows my mind. I gotta go back to work. Well, I gotta go into work. I haven't been to work yet. I slept so long, I'm so refreshed that I don't even know what day it is. I gotta go back to work. Anyways, you guys are the best. Start with your local... Brandy, where's your account that had the... Brandy, you had a mod wrench. What happened? Start with your local public officials and keep sending emails until you get an answer for at least someone to hear the proposal. You're right. And I need to do that. I believe that we could draft that up somehow and maybe do like a rough draft for people to be able to copy and paste. It's hump day! But that's a great idea. You're right. We need to do something, because we can't just sit here and rant and rave about it every time that it happens and just do absolutely nothing. But, yep, on that note, I gotta run. You guys, thank you so much for being here. And let's pray they get justice for these babies and this man is found. Maybe he took himself out. Who knows? We just gotta hope and pray. And, you know, at this rate, we've got to do something. But you're the best. Thanks for everything.